iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12-Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Welcome in here tonight, race fans, to the Langley Speedway here tonight for the Best Colorful Creations 125 for the Best Colorful Creations Pro Series, presented by the Upstate Racing League. My name is Roger Muth, and alongside me, Kelly Dahl in the virtual studio here tonight to bring you all the racing action. This is, of course, our fifth race of the season. Bill Martin, Justin Fuller, Guillaume Fortin, and Justin Fuller, again, times two, has picked up wins this season. And here tonight, another one of these classic bull rings, Kelly. It looks like we could possibly have another winner here this season because so far it's only been three.
Yeah, and last week we had a fantastic race coming down pretty much to the end of the wire where Bill Martin made that fantastic move to get himself up into the lead. But this track is probably going to be a little bit somewhat similar, somewhat different. It is very much going to be a bottom lane track. You're going to see those drivers planted to that yellow line in the corners and even going below the yellow to use that just slight change of banking to help corner these cars.
Last week, after Justin Fuller picked up another win here with the series, he now opens up that points lead to an 18-point lead over Steph Marinac. Bill Martin is 28 points back, Guillaume Fortin is 34 points back, and Brian Hacker rounds down the top five. Our first stand RC Speedway Rookie of the Year candidate, Dalton Williamson, is sitting there sixth, and tied with him is the number 71 of Brett Hahn. Both those two rookies tied sixth overall in the championship standings. So, well, the championship standings, where the regular season standings may have an 18-point deficit, that Rookie of the Year championship looks to be a good one here tonight to watch because those two drivers are going to have some pretty good starting spots here tonight in the Best Colorful Creations 125. As it does look like it is just about time here tonight to light the fire, let's head down trackside to get our starting lineup here tonight. Starting lineup will look like this. With the invert of the top 15 drivers, this is how it will look. This is the number 66, Stephen Roachford, another driver who is one of those Rookie of the Years. He'll start P number 1. To the outside of him, the driver out of Vermont, driving car number 73, that'll be Vernon Woodard. And then it'll be the number 4, the 802 Precision, number 4 of Rodney Hontoon. It's the driver out of Tampa, Florida. We just talked about him. Dalton Williamson will sit there, P number 4. While the driver out of Huntley, Illinois, the Brian Hacker entry. Driving car number 11, Illinois. Hacker to start 5th. 6th will be the number 15 of Matthew Barkhouse. Then it'll be Justin McDuff in car number 20. Mike Alexander in the Rev Racing number 75, R&R Kingsman Auto Savage entry. He will start 8th. While Bill Martin, car number 39, the Doctor, will go 9th. Justin Fuller, car number 51, will start 10th here tonight and rounding out the top 10.
Joe Schaefer Jr. is going to be rolling off in the inside of row number 6 in the Epic Media Machine, and to his outside, the 13G of Guillaume Fortin. Brett Hahn, one of our Rookie of the Year contenders, he'll be rolling off in 13th with another rookie, Michael Trevarthen, to his outside. Brian Rogers Jr. in the 12 machine, he's going to be rolling off in 15th with Gary Eschen in 16th. Casey Bietti going to be on the inside of row number 9 and 17th with AJ Hamill, the 18, starting 18th. Matt Eddy in that 88 machine, he'll be rolling off in 19th, and Scott Austin in the 5 will be rolling off 20th.
21st position here tonight is Justin Rigsby, while Jeremy Bingham is 22nd. 23rd tonight on the call will be Mike Holtzclaw. Then it will be the driver of car number 88, Matt McLean. The 2B of Brett Bartels, Ellie Musgrave, Joshua Buckley, Rob Higgins, Jeremy Carpenter, Jimmy McIntyre, along with EJ O'Rourke, Devin Johnson, and Justin Coachman. That is your starting lineup here tonight for our 125-lap feature event. There's the field down there. There's the two drivers that will start on the front row. Car number 66 of Stephen Rochefort and Vernon Woodard. Both those drivers will come into the Hanson Starter Shop restart zone this time by. We'll light the fire here tonight in the Best Colorful Creations 125.
Pace car is down and away. Green flag comes out immediately. Stephen Rochefort getting off to a great start. Big wiggle from Vernon Woodard, though. He's going to be able to keep it on the outside, still getting loose through turns 1 and 2. That's going to open up the door for Dalton Williamson, who gets a fantastic run off of turn number 2.
So far, the bottom lane here in the opening lap outside there, that number 73, Vernon Woodard, just does not seem to come up to speed here. That car is slipping and sliding. Lap number 1 will go to the rookie, Stephen Rochefort. So 2 rookies right now leading this field here as the 73 of Vernon Woodard still continues to roll the outside lane here. Here comes Brian Hacker. Here comes Justin McDuff. And the next driver that could be there, that is that brightly yellow number 39, that Ford Mustang. That would be the doctor of Bill Martin.
Looks like there is absolutely no grip on that outside lane. There's a few drivers that are still stuck up there, and pretty much every time they come into the corners, those cars are getting loose. Vernon Woodard, though, still stuck on that high side. He's dropped all the way down into 6th, now into 7th as Bill Martin gets by him, and he's going to lose even more ground as Joe Schaefer Jr. gets a good run off of turn number 2, is going to get even up with him. And as I mentioned before the race started, this is a very bottom-heavy track. You want to be on that bottom lane. That high side is not going to get you anywhere.
It's showing here tonight another one of those drivers just finding his way down to the bottom. The R&R Kingsman Auto Salvage number 15 Matthew Barkhouse will find the bottom lane here, so at least he can now breathe a little easier. He has lost 5 positions. Vernon Woodard has lost 6. He's still to the outside. A little bit deeper in the field, there are some drivers that are still stuck to the outside, but pretty much everybody else has now found their way to the bottom. Brett Hahn, he has got to the inside here of Vernon Woodard. He has just not been able to clear. Here comes the 11 of Hacker now. Inside the top 3, Hacker going to move the number 4, Rodney Hontoon, up the speedway. Hacker will kind of waltz on through on that one. Look back there. That's the drivers that are still stuck to the outside. There it is. The car number 4, Rodney Hontoon, now on the outside looking in to try to get to the bottom.
He may have an opportunity now in turn 1 as Joe Schaefer Jr. trying to close up. Schaefer is going to be able to take away that position, so Hontoon just struggling. Each time he gets a gap, that gap is immediately filled, as it looked like there was going to be another position behind the 6 that was immediately filled by the 7-11 of Brett Hahn, who is now trying to move himself up further in the field to try to get some more of those Rookie of the Year points.
See a couple of these drivers trying to utilize all the racetrack. You saw in turn 1 and 2, Joe Schaefer Jr. just out the corner of the eye. That number 6 machine was down on the apron below the yellow line, trying to get that car to rotate. There he goes again. So does Brett Hahn. So does Justin Fuller. Everybody trying to use every inch of this track that they can here. And you still see number 4, Rodney Hontoon, still stuck to the outside. He had the early advantage by starting on the inside here tonight, but now the 802 Precision entry is now stuck to the outside. You see Vernon Woodard now back to the 13th spot. He's still stuck to the outside, so it's not a good night to be from Vermont. Here comes Casey Bietti, though. He'll prove us wrong.
And Hontoon, both Hontoon and the 73 of Woodard have pretty much proven to us why you don't want to be on that outside. Vernon Woodard finally finds his way to the bottom lane. However, that cost him so much. He went from 2nd all the way down to 14th. And Rodney Hontoon has pretty much done the same thing. He was in 2nd place before he got bumped out of line, and now Vernon Woodard is going to push his way past, and there doesn't seem to be any sort of opportunity for Hontoon to get to the bottom side at any point here, as the field is still nose to tail on that bottom side.
Hantoon tried to get back to the throttle to get in front of that Eddie's Performance number 88, but that's not going to happen. He got it sideways, heated up the tires, still continuing to fall through the field here for car number 4. Another one of those drivers stuck to the outside. That's Gary Eschen, car number 23. He is back here into the 20th position currently. Eschen down 4 spots from where he has started here tonight. One driver had a little bit of problems. That was the 7 of Coachman. One driver also not to take to the call here tonight. That was car number 17 of Jeremy Bingham. Bingham looked like he had some technical difficulties in our practice session a little bit earlier on, so he did not make the call to the grid here tonight. And that is, right now, the only biggest updates we have here, other than a couple of these drivers falling through the field, like Vernon Woodward, who has found his way to the bottom. He's running in 13th. Rodney Hantoon now finds his way to the bottom. He will go in line into the 16th position, and it looks like so did, I believe, Gary Eschen made his way to the bottom. He did also. Gary Eschen now falls back into line in the 23rd position. Everybody right around the bottom here tonight as we go to complete lap number 17. There's your race leader, Stephen Rochfort, Dalton Williamson, Brian Hacker, your top 3.
And we've seen our first car go a lap down. Justin Coachman was passed by our leader, Stephen Rochfort, just a few moments ago. Now the next car to be under threat of going a lap down is EJ O'Rourke, pretty much half the track ahead of that 66 machine of Rochfort. Rochfort now just mainly focused on Dalton Williamson, who has been all over his rear bumper. He has closed up that gap, but has not had any sort of opportunity to make a move. And really the only way you're going to make a move here is either you move the guy out of the way, or you get a great run off of turn 4 or turn 2 and just cut underneath the guy in front of you. And now let's see what Dalton Williamson is going to do to Stephen Rochfort.
Yeah, he was all over the back end that time through 1 and 2. Dalton Williamson, a very experienced racer, is one car coming to pit road. The Best Colorful Creations, number 81. That was Jimmy McIntyre pulling it to the infield. We'll see what happened to the 81 of Jimmy McIntyre and if he can make his way back onto the speedway. But Williamson, he's a rookie here with the Upstate Racing League, and we talk about this every year. These rookies that come here to the Upstate Racing League, they are some of the best short track racers that we have on the iRacing sim, and it's showing right now here with just 22 laps completed here tonight that it is 2 rookies that can compete with the big dogs tonight. Rochford and Williamson out front here. Brett Hahn, another one of those rookies. He's back running into the 7th spot here currently. So you have 3 rookies inside the top 10.
And really no need for Dalton Williamson to get any sort of get very aggressive here early on in this race. We are still only 23 laps in the books here as we come off of turn number 4. Stephen Rochfort has led every single one of those laps, but you can't say that he's just cruised off right now, because not only is Dalton Williamson closed up, but the rest of this top 5 is right behind him as well. Pretty much everyone all the way back to Joe Schaefer are right up to this front group, and just behind them, Justin Fuller has gotten around the 7-Eleven. Oh, there's contact between them. The 7-Eleven of Hahn gets tagged. He's going to be able to regain it, but he got a little piece of the wall after getting into the 15 of Matthew Barkhouse.
Yeah, Barkhouse right there made a little contact. Now Casey Bietti trying to get to the back bumper there of the R&R Kingsman Auto Salvage number 15. And doesn't look like he's going to be quite able to. Casey Bietti has picked up the most positions here in the early goings. He has picked up 7 so far, so the driver out of Vermont right now on the charge, trying to show these drivers how to get it done. 2 drivers now to the outside, the 7-Eleven of Brett Hahn after the contact with the 15 of Matthew Barkhouse. They have now moved the 7-Eleven up out of the groove, and see Casey Bietti try to wash up there just a little bit. That was also the 12 of Brian Rogers Jr., but Rogers got back in line. He got back in line just ahead of the number 4 of Rodney Hantoon.
And it's looking like Bietti's got a better run off of these corners compared to the 15 of Barkhouse in front of him, so I'd watch for that 45. He's going to be making a move soon. He just has to find his opportunity and probably just chuck it up the inside going in turn 1 or turn 3.
That's what we've seen so far here tonight, the inside lane prevailing. Where will Casey Bietti, though, start to pounce? Because the race leaders that are out in front of them are starting to pull away from this group. This is like the second group of cars, if you want to be technical here tonight. And your race leaders, you see that car, the 15, got a little tight that time out of turn number 4. It looked like it got a push. Started to head to the outside wall, but Barkhouse was able to get it back down and keep it out of the outside retaining wall. Aerodynamics will not be a big factor here tonight if one of these drivers were to ruffle up a fender or 2. Brett Hahn, though, still stuck to the outside. Here comes Brian Rogers Jr. in the Lightning McQueen Rusty's entry.
Now Rodney Huntoon is going to get underneath that 7-Eleven. He's going to take away that position, and as we've seen a few times throughout tonight, as soon as you get to that outside lane, you are going to drop like a rock. Brett Hahn still trying to find a way to the bottom now as Justin Rigsby comes in to get to his left rear quarter panel, and that is going to take away another opportunity to get to the bottom. And looking at this train of cars, it looks like he is going to get freight trained all the way back out of the top 20 unless he can get lucky and find a gap soon.
So from the 8th position all the way to 15th, 16th, 17th now, and not a hole in sight for the driver of that 7-Eleven. A night that was good here in the first 20-some laps or so, now having to find a way to the bottom and earn his rookie stripes here. Out front, it is still, contact between the 1 of Dalton Williamson and the 66 of Stephen Rochefort. Little contact between those two drivers, maybe Williamson wanting to take the race lead before we get to that lap traffic that is just out in front of that 66, because they are starting to bear down on it. Out in front there, that is Devin Johnson, car number 18. You see him there, you see E.J. O'Rourke. Your race leaders are closing in on the back of the field here, and then once we get the lap traffic, unless we get a caution flag, we will be in lap traffic all night long.
And Williamson has been looking a little bit faster than Rochefort, but it's one thing to be faster than a driver here on a short track like this. It's an entirely different thing to pass them, and Williamson now is starting to experiment with a few different lines to maybe see if he can get himself a bit of a run off of turn number 4. That time didn't quite work. He actually dropped back a little bit compared to Rochefort, but at this point, he really just has to experiment and find an opportunity because, as you mentioned, we are closing up on lap traffic. We got Devin Johnson coming up here as we see a car heading down to the pit road. That looked to be Gary Eschen.
So it could be an early night for Gary Eschen. It does not look like Jimmy McIntyre has been able to find the gremlins in car number 81 here tonight. So McIntyre will grab some of those Best Colorful Creations cake pops, and he will watch from the stands. He was out watching on Sunday night on the dirt side of things here at the Upstate Racing League. Of course, Jimmy always having cake pops on hand, courtesy of our sponsor of Best Colorful Creations, always giving these drivers a handful of cake pops to, well, put in their bellies, give them a little something, a little energy to come out here on Wednesdays and Sunday nights to compete here with the Upstate Racing League, and we'll see what happened here. These drivers are hungry, though, out front. They didn't get to eat their cake pops yet. You can tell that. That's the way they're going at it for the race lead, because Williamson's still all over the back bumper, and Hacker was also all over that number 1.
Yeah, Williamson has got to find a move soon. If he wants to take the race lead, he's going to have to go for it, because Brian Hacker has caught up to that 1 machine, and Brian Hacker does not look like he wants to waste any time. Gives a bit of a shot to Williamson coming off at turn number 4. Hacker is knocking on the door. He wants to have a shot at first place.
Right on board here, Brian Hacker. Watch how close he can get to the back bumper of that number 1 who is sitting in the 2nd position right now. Hacker being very ginger on the throttle. You hear him not come quite full throttle, and then all of a sudden that car lunges off the corner, shot out of a rocket, and look at that 1 car just in front of him. Got a little tight that time down on 1 and 2. He pulls it right back down to the bottom, though, in 3 and 4.
More lap traffic coming up in front of Rochefort here. The set looks to be the 7 of Coachman once again going down to a 3rd lap down at this point. He is just going to keep the car high and out of the way, and that's going to allow these leaders through, but not going to cause too much of a shakeup at front. But at this point, Rochefort pulling up a little bit of a gap over Williamson at this point. Looks like Williamson had pretty much been leaning on that rear bumper of Rochefort the last few laps, but now it's starting to open up a bit of a gap, and that may be an opportunity for Hacker here.
Close in on the next car to go a lap down would be E.J. O'Rourke if we were to get there, and I'm noticing some little contact back here. The number 12, Brian Rogers Jr., got up out of the groove, and then that Rusty's entry came down. Looked like a little contact between him and Justin Rigsby. Now that'll put Brian Rogers back to running into the 27th position. That is down 12 spots from where he has started here tonight at Langley, and that car does not look to be handling very well. He just banked it off the outside wall. He keeps it going. Now he'll come to pit road. So the Rusty's, number 12 of Brian Rogers Jr., coming to pit road.
Might be our 3rd car to call it a night here at Langley, as we've seen if this track has claimed a few already, and likely just from cars getting a little too hot on the throttle off of the corner and maybe tagging that wall and bending the right front. So that is going to be something these guys are going to have to take care of as Rochefort continues to open up his gap over Williamson, who continues to try to defend against Brian Hacker. And really this whole 6-car breakaway has kind of just kept themselves in line, tried to open up the gap over the field as Justin Fuller sits kind of in his on an island by himself between the top 6 and this huge pack behind him, beginning with the 15 of Barkhouse.
So that's how they look right now. Barkhouse leading that second main group of drivers. It's Barkhouse, it's Woodard, it's Bietti, it's A.J. Hamill, Guillaume Fortin also right there, kind of sitting a couple car lengths back. But some of the drivers that are buried deep into the field here tonight that haven't made much noise. There's the number 75 of Mike Alexander, the driver out of Nova Scotia. And right in front of him, Matthew Eddy, as Matt Eddy gets up into the outside retaining wall in car number 88. They will swap and exchange those two positions. But Alexander has made no noise here tonight, back in 15th, down 7 spots from where he has started. We talked about Brett Hahn in the 7-11 entry, as you see him battling with the number 22 of Mike Holtzclaw, as Hahn had his self moved to the outside lane and then just choo-choo trained right on by. There's one of those rookies, the number 2T of Michael Trevarth, and he's way back here, and he's going to overshoot the corner. Now can the number 2B of Bartels kind of make an advance on him? He will not be. These drivers racing pretty darn hard back here for about the 19th position and on back, and you see the 2B not able to make any ground up, so Bartels just kind of falls back into line there into the 19th position. Holtzclaw will fall back into the 20th spot. There's Rob Higgins. Matt McLean is also right here, and that's where you find Justin Rigsby and Joshua Buckley also.
And every time, every pass we've had here tonight has been extremely hard fought unless the driver has already been moved up into that second groove. If you're running the same line as the guy in front of you, it is very hard to try to get them off their line and be able to take away the position. As we've seen Williamson for maybe the past about 40 laps has been chasing down Rochefort and has not had any opportunity to make a move. Now, once again, he is going to get a little bit closer to that bumper. He took a bit of a peek into turn 3 there, so keep an eye on that one car of Dalton Williamson. He may have an opportunity to challenge for the race lead.
Those top two drivers, they're rookies, and they've also never won a race here with the Upstate Racing League, whether it's been here on the Pro Series side of thing or on the dirt side of things. Williamson is one of those dirt competitors. He runs a very limited schedule with the Bartel Builders Big Block Series on Sunday night, so it could be a first-time winner for one of those drivers, or maybe it's been a long time since we've seen Brian Hacker or Justin McDuff go to victory lane here with the Upstate Racing League, so possibly have either some drivers reunited into victory lane or a first-time winner right now inside the top 4. Bill Martin, he's already picked up a win this season, and Joe Schaefer Jr. is a very accomplished racer here with the Upstate Racing League. Kind of got one taken away from him just a couple of days ago.
Yeah, he had one taken away from him, and there's the Williamson up into the wall coming on down the front straightaway. Really tagged the wall hard underneath the flag stand there. We'll have to see if there's any sort of damage to the right side of the car. Seems to be dented slightly. Hopefully he hasn't done too much and we'll be able to keep going. As you mentioned earlier, the aerodynamics isn't going to play a huge part at a track like this at Langley with it being so short, but the big thing is keeping the tires point in the right direction. You bend that, maybe a tie rod coming off a corner like that, you're going to be toast.
Yeah, the car could get tight from here on out. A little more of a scrape right at the flag stand here. Now he's going to get tagged by Brian Hacker. 1 tap, 2 tap, and now here comes the 11 of Brian Hacker. He'll get to the inside down into turn 3. He'll utilize that apron, wash up the track a little bit of a hip check. Williamson up out of second. Now he'll be back to third and maybe onto the downward slide. Here comes the 20. There is Justin McDuff. He'll make the pass. Now it'll be up to the doctor of Bill Martin to see what he can prescribe that number 1.
Very much elbows out racing here tonight as we've had another car pull it behind the wall. The other one car of Jeremy Carpenter, he has called it a night, pulled down pit road. And as we watch Dalton Williamson, he is going to be able to slot in behind Joe Schaefer Jr. So he moves from second down to 6, and that's really the risk that you have here tonight. If someone gets to your inside and moves you to that outside lane, you are going to get absolutely freight trained unless you can find a gap to get to the bottom immediately.
Yeah, and that's a smart move, though, by Williamson, just to take his lump and go all the way to the back of this front train here, which is just back to 6th. That's not a full-blown drop through the field like Vernon Woodard or Brett Hahn had, because, man, once you go that far back, it's going to be really hard to try and advance yourself later on in this race. Also save a little tires by just falling back into line right now. As you can see, a lot of traffic in front of the race leader of Stephen Rochefort. He has now approached the back of the field. Ellie Musgrave, who is running into the 26th position, will be the next driver to have to give way to the race leader. We'll see what happens as Rochefort pulls to the back bumper. She'll go to the high side, and he will go down low. So Ellie Musgrave now is the first car that is 1 lap down, running back all the way into the 26th position.
Rochefort got himself a decent bit of a gap as Hacker and Williamson fought each other a few laps prior, so that is going to kind of ease up the pressure on him and maybe allow him to let off the gas a little bit, just kind of cool off those tires, maybe save that right front a little bit. As we saw last week, that was the huge deciding factor. Bill Martin really saved his tires very well, took care of them, and had so much speed towards the end. And these long runs really play into the favor of that 39 car. So it's possible that he may be able to make some moves like that again this week. But a track like Langley, it is so much harder to pass.
Very hard here tonight, almost 3 wide in front of the race leader. That was the number 18 there of Devin Johnson going a second lap down along with Mike Holtzclaw. So Holtzclaw now will go a lap down, those two drivers falling back behind the race leader. EJ O'Rourke has skated through here so far, running 24th, is staying on the lead lap by passing cars on this long run. But now the race leader is about 2-3 car lengths back behind him. Then you got Michael Trevarthen, Joshua Buckley, Rob Higgins, and Justin Rigsby, the next drivers that will, as you see the number 2T of Michael Trevarthen, he'll just go to the outside here. He doesn't want anything to do with the race leader, so he will just let him go right on through.
And that 41 of EJ O'Rourke doing anything he can to stay on the lead lap as he dove to the inside of that 2 machine to keep himself on the lead lap, or the 2T of Michael Trevarthen, and now he's got a little bit more of a gap in front of him before that next car of Joshua Buckley. We'll have to see if he's going to be able to make that pass before the 66 of Rochford closes up that gap and puts him finally a lap down.
We've been clean and green so far here, working lap number 74 out of the 125 scheduled here tonight for the Best Color Corporation's 125 here at the Langley Speedway, the 12th season for the Upstate Racing League. And we have, I believe, just about every season come here to Langley, and it's proven to be one of those tracks that puts on good shows. EJ O'Rourke going to tag the outside wall that time, though, down in between turns 4 and 1, and it looks like he's all over the back end of the 13 MA of Joshua Buckley. Buckley looks like he's already going to be rolling over. He'll go to the outside, and he goes right back down to the bottom now in front of Stephen Rochford, and see what happens down in turn 3. Oh, a little contact there. EJ O'Rourke and Joshua Buckley. Now Brian Hacker sideways. Hacker going to be spinning down the back straightaway. Oh, Joe Schaefer Jr., Holtzclaw, Fuller, nowhere to go. All involved to bring out the first caution flag of the evening.
And also a big hit at the end from Justin Fuller, who came flying in and smoked the 11 of Hacker. And it's basically a lot of chaos off of turn number 4. And actually now looking back of it, looks like Hacker got a little bit of help going, or sorry, not Hacker, Fuller got a little bit of help heading into Hacker.
Well, let's watch it back. There you see the checkup, and oh, Justin McDuff into the back of the number 11 of Hacker. Schaefer nowhere to go. The seas parted, and all of a sudden, there's that 11 sitting sideways for Justin Fuller. Hacker's car very damaged. He came straight to pit road. Watch this back. It's all going to come from a big stack up on the bottom with the lap cars in front of the race leaders and that contact between the two teammates. There you saw Joe Schaefer Jr., Mike Holtzclaw, and Justin Fuller. Let's ride on board here with Justin Fuller. Let's hear if he gets the rear tires lifted up off the 51. He definitely got some help that time off turn number 2, which is going to send the 51 into the 11 of Brian Hacker. That came from the 15 of Matthew Barkhouse, but, man, big implications here in this one.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate for the 11 of Hacker, as he was having a fantastic night, was challenging for the race lead, may have even had a chance to go for it in the next few laps, but after that getting spun around, that the hard hit from the 51, I think, is what's going to do him in, because that was pretty much directly to his left front tire, and that had to have bent something. And with the amount of damage he's got, he's on pit road, he's already gone a lap down, is probably going to go multiple at this point. So really unfortunate for Brian Hacker. He was running a fantastic race, and it's all come to an end pretty much from no fault of his own.
Joe Schaefer Jr. also getting damage with the Epic Media entry. You see the right front fender on that one looking like an open wheel modified. Also the left front having some damage. That car was flying up into the air after he made the contact with Brian Hacker. So his night, we're going to have to see how that plays out now. The lineup should look something like this when we get ready to go back racing. It'll be Stephen Rochford, Bill Martin, Justin McDuff, Joe Schaefer Jr., Dalton Williamson back into the 5th spot. Then it'll be Justin Fuller, Matthew Barkhouse, A.J. Hamill, Guillaume Fortin, and Vernon Woodard looks to be rounding out the top 10. That looks to be how they will line them up here. Let's see. Yep, race control says that is good. The lights will go out on the iRacing.com safety car. We will wait to come back here into the Hanson Starter Shop restart zone after our Confusion Performance caution lights for the first time tonight have been extinguished.
And this restart is going to really shake up the order. As we saw the start of this race, the outside line went nowhere. They dropped all back. We'll have to see what's going to happen this time with Bill Martin to the outside in position number 2. as we approach the Hanson Starter Shop restart zone. Pace car gets off the racetrack. Steven Rochefort has control. He's going to launch off of turn number 4. And Bill Martin going to try to find that gap to the bottom. He is going to lunge forward and just get ahead of Justin McDuff.
So as the front 3 will get to the bottom side of the speedway, now it'll be Joe Schaefer Jr. trying to get there, as the rookie will once again come across the line as the race leader to put lap number 82 in the books. Little contact to the outside wall. Sideways for Bill Martin. Martin sideways across the speedway. He'll wash it all the way up. Pontoon down to the grass.
And unfortunate for Bill Martin, a fantastic save. However, that's going to move him all the way back in the field, behind, outside the top 10 even. I think it's going to drop him behind Vernon Woodard. Yes, he is going to come across the scoring line as 10th position. So, some great wheel work to hold on to that car, but really unfortunate situation for the 39.
Wow, Bill Martin dropping way behind the 8 ball, and a very rare mistake by the doctor we have seen here tonight. Rodney Hontoon also getting down onto the grass there, and there you see the 802 Precision, number 4, back in now the 20th spot. A night that could have been for that driver now looks like just trying to salvage something back at the front of the field, though, with a Steven Rochefort, Joe Schaefer Jr., and Justin McDuff. That's your top 3.
Joe Schaefer Jr., even with the damage that he's got on that Epic Media machine, he does have some pace. He's getting some good runs off the corner, but with that damage, especially to the right front, you got to wonder, is he going to be able to save that right front tire as he just lunges off of turn number 2? However, Rochefort is still going to be the first driver to get down to the bottom on that inside of 3.
You can see the damage as we look back with our Xander Sign Group onboard camera with Steven Rochefort back there at the Epic Media entry. You see the nose piece all damaged up. Kelly, put on the driver's helmet. How much does that play a factor now for car number 6 here tonight with the damage that's on the front nose piece of this car? Are you worried about getting close to the back bumper of that 66?
I think at this point he isn't focused on that. He's probably going to want to try to get past that 66 and get the clean air. I'm sure he's less worried about the temperatures and more worried about his right front, because with how that right front is crinkled up, I'm sure he sees it from the cockpit. So that's probably going to be the more worrying thing for him.
We'll see here what happens for the Epic Media number 6, because he's putting the pressure now on that car number 66. Sixes are wild out front here right now tonight at Langley, as it's the 66 of Rochefort still leading the way. It looks like everybody has pretty much been able to find their way down to the bottom side of the speedway, so we are single file inside the top 10 here. And just about as far as I can see, I think I saw Casey Pieti. Caution lights are on.
Looks to be the 40 Rob Higgins turned sideways in turn number 1. Seems to be just a single, really one car going around and not too much damage, so fairly minor incident for the 40 car.
Take the look back here, see what happened to the car number 40. He was sitting right in front of Rodney Hontoon. Oh, Mike Alexander had some issues, and then that got the 4 to the inside. And maybe the spotter just a little slow to communicate to the 40 of Rob Higgins that Rodney Hontoon was taking the peak to the inside, and that's what's going to turn the cowboy of Rob Higgins around.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be very much damage to the 40 car, so the problem is mainly going to be the loss of a track position. As we've seen, it is so hard to make any sort of move here. And he's also going to have to be forced to restart on the outside, so that's not even going to allow him to make up any of those positions that he may have lost with that spin. So who's really going to benefit from this, though, is Steven Rochefort. He was kind of under pressure from Joe Schaefer Jr. Schaefer was finding that line, was looking to maybe make a pass, and it was really forcing that 66 to stay tight. He wasn't going all the way out wide off the corner exits, and that was probably putting a lot of extra pressure on that right front tire. And this caution is going to allow him to maybe cool that tire off a little bit and regather himself, and it might cause Joe Schaefer Jr. to drop back on the restart.
Well, we have a second here under our caution flag for the second time, brought to us by Confusion Performance Cautions. We also got to thank a couple more of our sponsors, Xander Sign Group, Fleet and Vehicle Graphics, graphic design, vehicle wraps, anything in between. The Xander Sign Group has you covered. Along with Dr. Noise Custom Paint and Diecast, the custom diecast supplier of the Upstate Racing League. Make your iRacing ride into a high-end replica. Contact the Dr. Noise Custom Paint and Diecast today and tell them the Upstate Racing League sent you. Along with Rumar Vinyl Designs, we do all types of vinyl graphics for outdoor, indoor, anything you need, including banners, signs, your vehicle, and much more. Let's get stuck on you, Rumar Vinyl Designs. Along with Eddie's Performance Solution located in Hope, Michigan. Eddie Performance Solution is your #1 place to go for a new setup. Help tuning your current setup. Contact Eddie Performance Solution. Along with Carpenter's Tax Service, it's almost tax time here in the United States. Got to pay old Uncle Sam this year. Make sure to contact Carpenter's Tax Service to get your tax preparation ready to file. Along with Beth Colorful Creations back as the series title sponsor this season. Best Colorful Creations is the custom cake headquarters for the Upstate Racing League. You have a special event for your little one, loved one coming up. Best Colorful Creations can make your imagination come to fruition. So contact Best Colorful Creations and get your custom cake pops today.
Now approaching the Hanson Star Shop restart zone. Pace car is out of the way. Steven Rochefort once again launching towards turn number 1. And Joe Schaefer Jr. going to try to find a gap before Justin McDuff can fill it. And Schaefer actually going to make a move on the outside. He's going to get even up with Rochefort coming off of turn number 2. Rochefort was struggling to get that grip on the inside of turns 2. And now we're maybe able to see a challenge for the race lead. Joe Schaefer Jr. still hanging on that outside.
The bad thing about this, though, that number 6 now has the number 20 of Justin McDuff starting to get inch closer on the inside. 3 wide, 1 driver around. Bill Martin was down to the infield. Now he's all the way back to the outfield, down in the corner. They're 3 wide racing here at Langley, and more contact there. Hahn, and I believe that's the 31 of Justin Rigsby, made a little contact. Boy, there's racing all over the track.
Joe Schaefer Jr. had to force himself back down to the bottom side behind Rochefort as we went through that, but Justin Fuller, he is still hanging on the outside. He's going to make contact with Scott Austin going to turn number 1. That's going to move him way up the racetrack. He's going to lose the ground to the 5 car, and that's going to give an opportunity for the 88 of Matt Eddy. He's going to get to the inside of that 51 while also getting tagged a little bit by Casey Pietty going through turns 3.
You want to talk with under 30 laps to go. The gloves are off and the elbows are up. A hip check. Justin Fuller from the top rope into the 88 of Matt Eddy. Eddy keeps the Eddie's Performance Solution. Number 88 pointed in the right direction. Now here comes Casey Pietty. There is that is actually the 7-11 of Brett Hahn right there. So contact between Hahn and the 51 of Fuller. Fuller going to go around to the inside, and that's going to wad up the inside lane. The caution lights are coming on. Those Confusion Performance caution lights back on for the 3rd time with just 24 laps to go. We talked about elbows up, and Justin Fuller, that car is crab walking. I don't think that one's going to be able to finish out tonight.
Yeah, Fuller kind of went down got into the 7-11 and then just got hooked right around, and it was a bit of a strange impact between those cars because it was like as soon as the contact happened, Fuller's car just turned 90 degrees sideways and just went hard to the inside where that 7-11 was.
Yeah, it almost looked like the left rear had broke as soon as they made contact going down into turn number 1. You saw a couple cars screaming by there, getting involved. Take a couple looks back at it. Watch the number 51 to the outside. Watch that 7-11 down to the inside. Fuller right there comes down into that right front. Gets spun around, and then Bill Martin made the contact. I believe that was Matt McLean also making contact as he came by in car number 88 also. So multiple cars involved here in our 3rd caution flag of the evening.
Things are getting a little hairy as the laps tick down. We went over half the race distance green flag, and now in the last half of this race, we have had 3 caution flags, and this race still isn't done. We're going to have just under 20 laps to go when we go back to green flag racing, and really anything is up for grabs because we saw Joe Schaefer Jr. He had an opportunity to get around Rochefort on the outside. Maybe we're going to see that again on this next restart.
Yeah, we haven't seen anybody really utilize that outside lane here tonight. That was the first time anybody has gone up there. We'll see if he can do that again because he will have to restart to the outside lane on row number 1. It'll still be Rochefort here tonight with Joe Schaefer Jr. to his outside. Then it'll be Justin McDuff, Matthew Barkhouse, then it'll be Guillaume Fortin, A.J. Hamill, Vernon Woodard, Scott Austin making his way into the top 10. A great run for the driver of the Austin Designs, number 5. There you see him, brand new colors here tonight. There's Matt Eddy back into the 9th spot, and Casey Pietty, who did set the quickest time in our practice session earlier on, the driver out of Vermont here tonight, making his return this season with the Upstate Racing League, is sitting into the 10th position. Brett Bartels is back there running in 11th, and it's Justin Rigsby in 12th. Rodney Hontoon is 13th. Bill Martin back all the way to the 14th spot now, and rounding out the top 15, that will be Matt McLean.
And I'm watching Steven Rochford on this during these pace laps. He's getting down onto the apron, seemingly trying to cool off his tires, but there is a lot of marbles down there that he may be picking up onto his tires. So hopefully those things will get cleaned off before we go green flag racing, or else it's going to probably affect his grip going into turn number 1.
As the lights are out, though, we're going to find out here because we're going to come back into the Hanson Starter Shop restart zone. The Hanson Starter Shop rebuilding and repairing alternators, generators, and starters, and also carrying new ones. 30 years of experience doing business in the upstate racing area as these drivers are ready to start this race back up. Rochford, that time, going to wait the longest he has into the restart zone. We're green flag racing. Bartels with a big wiggle on the restart. That car did not get fired off, and it almost caused the whole stack up at the mid-pack.
Joe Schaefer Jr., though, he's not going to quite be able to challenge on the outside, just like we saw him in that previous restart. He is going to have an opportunity to maybe get down to the bottom, and he is going to take it before that 20 of Justin McDuff gets there. And now we see Guillaume Fortin. Oh,
3 wide, 1 spinning. Matt Eddy, that was Matt Eddy spinning down to the infield with car number 88. He was into the 10th spot. They were 3 wide. I think that was A.J. Hamill, and I could be wrong, but it was either Vernon Woodard or Scott Austin right there. They were all 3 wide racing down the front straight away.
Yeah, that looked like starting out of turn number 4 between the 18 and the 88. Those two getting into each other and then just causing a huge wreck down into turn number 1.
So beating and banging down the front straightaway between those two drivers. And I did see, I think that was the 5 there, Scott Austin, that got a little piece of it. Also with Bartels maybe getting a little snag of that one also. Watch it back here once again. There's the 18. That was the 2B actually. So Bartels got a little right or left front damage from A.J. Hamill also on that one, as Matt Eddy just kind of is the man on an island down on the infield there, as he will turn the 88 back around and have to tag the back of the field. So he'll go all the way to the back of the lead lap cars, and now with just 15 laps to go, it's going to be very hard to gain any positions here because it should be about, maybe 11 or 12 laps of racing left here tonight under green, under the regulation that we have scheduled.
And I'm sure he was probably worried, though, about getting that caution flag, because sometimes when a car spins down to the apron like that, the iRacing race control will not throw the caution flag. And if that had happened, that would have cost him more than just moving to the back of the field. He probably would have gone at least 1 lap down.
1 lap down, Ellie Musgrave will actually get the lucky dog here, so the 19-year-old out of Washington will tag the back of the field. This is, I believe, her second full-time season here with the Upstate Racing League, also doing some racing out on the West Coast. In her real racing career, comes here to the iRacing.com platform with the Upstate Racing League in the off-season, so she should restart right around the 21st position back on the lead lap for Ellie Musgrave.
Steven Rochford, once again, still going to be in control of this field when we go back to green flag racing, as he has been dominant throughout the night, has led every single lap so far. And we've mentioned it's been hard to pass around here, but it doesn't mean he's gone unchallenged. We've seen a few different drivers take a crack at him, and he's been able to hold off on any sort of pressure that's been thrown at him. But he's still going to have a few laps to go to close this one out, as pace car lights are still on. Hopefully we'll see them go out this next time by, and we can get back to racing.
Race fans, we got to thank you all for tuning in here tonight on the Turn 3 Racing Network to watch the Best Call for Creations Pro Series, presented by the Upstate Racing League on the Turn 3 Racing Network weekly. Every Wednesday night, you can catch all the Upstate Racing League asphalt side of things right here with Kelly Dahl and myself, Roger Muth, on the call. And then on Sunday night, the Bartel Builders Big Block Series, presented by the Upstate Racing League, bring the big block modifieds, the beast from the Northeast. The Ground Pounders, well, they come right here to the Turn 3 Racing Network with a lot of the drivers you see here tonight back on the big screen. But it's first these drivers here to finish it out as we come back into the Hanson Starter Shop restart zone. It'll be 11 laps to go at the line. Rochford says, chase me if you can. Let's go back racing.
And Justin McDuff getting a fantastic launch that time, and that is going to allow him to get to the inside of that 6 car of Joe Schaefer Jr. However, Schaefer getting a good run off of turn number 2. That's going to allow him to take that second place back and get himself back down to that bottom side and keep challenging that 66 of Steven Rochford as we go less than 10 laps to go.
The double high fives at the flag stand. Look who's taking a bid to the outside for the first time inside the top 5 tonight. That's the 13G, Guillaume Fortin now. The one-time winner on the tour. He is now to the outside. Here comes Scott Austin. He is going for more. He could try to take the 5th position. A.J. Hamill really going to sail her off down to the inside, almost 3 wide racing there. Vernon Woodard trying to thread the needle. He'll actually be able to clear the 18 of A.J. Hamill. So now Vernon Woodard back into the 7th spot, as it will be Scott Austin, though, clearing the 13G. Put Scott Austin now for a career night running into the 5th spot.
And now Joe Schaefer Jr. is trying all sorts of different lines that just out of desperation, trying to find something to get around Stephen Rochefort. As Rochefort, that last lap, kind of was hanging high on both 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now he is going to get himself back down to that bottom side. Joe Schaefer Jr. in that epic medium machine, he's getting closer and closer to the 66. Time is ticking down, though, so if he's going to make a move, he has to make it soon.
When is the proper time to give a little bit of a bump and run? The 3-tap Teddy rule is always in effect when we come short track racing. Here comes Matthew Barkhouse. He tried to get to the inside, a little contact between him and Justin McDuff. They both gather it back up. They stay both running in 3rd and 4th position. This time by Stephen Rochefort, though, will get the hi, how are you, as the flagman waves at him. It's just 5 more laps here for Stephen Rochefort. It could be Rochefort picking up his first career win or Joe Schaefer Jr. picking up the first win of the season.
Schaefer is wanting to make up for that win he lost out on just a few weeks ago. He is so close to that rear bumper of the 66 going through the corners. I don't know if he's got enough in that car to be able to make the move, though, because the Rochefort has been holding steady. Now the 6 hard into the wall, and I think that is going to do it for him. He lost a ton of ground.
Justin Fuller now in front of the race leader. He's going to hold up Stephen Rochefort as they come down the front straightaway. Maybe a little contact there from Rochefort into the back bumper of the 51. Rochefort not happy with that move as that allowed Joe Schaefer Jr. to start to close back up. This time by, though, they're going to widen him up, toss him out. It'll be just 2 laps to go. The popsicle sticks are up.
Rochefort, though, still hanging on to a lead over Joe Schaefer Jr. Schaefer trying to close that gap up. He does not have a lot of time left. Just a lap and a half left in this one as they come through turns 3 and 4. Rochefort going to see the white flag and go for the round of the track for the final time.
Carpenter's Tax Service white flag is up. Rochefort has about a car length and a half, almost 2 car lengths advantage as he'll shoot out of turn number 2 for the final time down the back straightaway. Final trip through turns 3, and then it's going to be out of turn 4, picking up his first career win. Stephen Rochefort wins here tonight at Langley. It'll be Rochefort, then Schaefer, McDuff, Barkhouse, Alston, your top 5 as they all come across the line, unofficial here tonight.
Great driving from Stephen Rochefort, just held off any sort of pressure that was thrown at him, just ignored every driver that was bumping on his rear bumper. But Joe Schaefer Jr., you got to give a mention to him because there is some pretty decent damage to the right front of that car, and he was still able to nurse this thing around for pretty much half the race. He had that damage and got himself into 2nd place, hanging on there, and pretty much it was the best challenge against Rochefort.
A good run here tonight for the rookie, so I'm not sure. I don't have the stat pulled up, Kelly. I don't know the last time a rookie candidate has come into the Upstate Racing League on the asphalt side of things and parked it in victory lane. I'm going to say it's been at least 3 seasons since we've seen that happen. But Rochefort here tonight, he's going to celebrate this one as he still has that car in line lock mode all the way around here. He's going to hang that one out here. I'm sure this is going to be a victory celebration for the ages. We're going to take a quick break, though, here from Langley race fans as we're seeing if we can call Rochefort out here and get him to talk to us here as he finally comes to a rest down to the infield. We'll be right back here to Langley with the Best Qualifications Pro Series post-race interviews.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12-Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back here, race fans, to the Langley Speedway here tonight for the Best Colorful Creations 125 for the Best Colorful Creations Pro Series presented by the Upstate Racing League. And, well, we did it. 125 laps here tonight to pick up a winner. And unfortunately, race fans, we don't have him here to talk to us. He's still out there celebrating. Stephen Rochefort, though, will pick up the big W and the big check for the first time ever. This rookie out of Vermont will go to victory lane. So Stephen Rochefort picking up the win here tonight, leading every lap of the 125 laps here tonight. So congratulations to Stephen Rochefort. We'll see if we can get a word in with him during the week and bring that interview to you live next week before we head to the South Boston Speedway. So congratulations once again to Rochefort for leading all 125 laps here tonight in the Best Colorful Creations 125, though. Kelly, I do believe, though, you are standing by with the driver who will finish P number 2, who had a little bit of a wild ride on this one.
Yeah, we are going to talk about that wild ride. Joe Schaefer Jr. back on, I think it was lap 76. You went all the way up onto two wheels. Kind of walk us through what you saw on your end and kind of what you felt with your car afterwards.
Yeah, I thought I was done for. I thought this was another bad week of me catching bad luck. But I don't know, I was doing a really good job of, or at least I thought, taking it easy and keeping the tires on it. I mean, I never felt tight once tonight, and that was a long run to start the race, and I could kind of sense things starting to bunch up. We were catching guys, putting them a lap down, and all of a sudden there was a black 11 car broadside in front of me, and I avoided most of him. I didn't hit him right in the door, but I clipped him just enough that it put me up into the outside wall, and it jumped the car up onto two wheels. So I really thought I was going to have wheel damage, but it was okay, I guess.
Well, you were able to nurse that car up and challenge for the race lead, but it seemed like it was very difficult to pass here tonight. I mean, what were you seeing on the racetrack?
Yeah, without moving somebody up off the bottom or a big mistake, it's really hard to get under somebody under green. I thought I had enough tire left to at least challenge on the outside, and a couple times I did, but there's just, the track is just so much shorter on the inside, of course, and even if I got door to door with him a couple times, it was going to take a perfect restart, and then I would have had to make him nervous, and I would have still needed a mistake. So a couple of those late restarts, I appreciate Justin giving me a ton of room, or at least racing me clean and knowing that I was going to hold him tight, trying to hold that track position. So I know a couple times I held him closer than I typically would anybody, so I raced around him enough to know that I can trust him, so I appreciated that. But yeah, just another week of really tough passing conditions, but happy to start stringing together some good ones here.
Well, tough passing seems to be the name of the game here on these short tracks, especially with a stacked field like this. But next week, we are going to be moving on to South Boston Speedway. And how do you think you're going to be able to do on that racetrack?
Of all the tracks, it's probably my least favorite. So I'm definitely going to put in some laps beforehand just to kind of get used to it, especially since I'm using a new wheel this week. So it's like getting a new chassis. I'm not going to have a very favorable spot on the invert, so probably try to play it a lot like I did this week. Take it real easy for the first 50, keep all the tires on it, and see where we stand with about 75 to go, and hope to get in the right lane on a restart.
All right, Joe. Well, thank you so much for coming out and talking to us. Before we let you go, though, who would you like to thank for your second place run tonight?
I'll thank Dr. Noise Custom Paint and Diecast. Bill had a rough go tonight. I was kind of using him to pace me, so he's probably part of the reason why I was able to keep the tires on it. But also Drew Krybeck with Epic Media, Al for putting on the show. It sucks that he had to miss his first race and the existence of the league. And as always, you guys for taking the time out of your night to broadcast and watch us.
All right, well, Joe, thanks for coming and talking to us. Congratulations once again for your run here tonight, and hopefully we'll hear from you again next week.
Yeah, thank you. I hope so.
That was Joe Schaefer Jr., driver of the number 6 machine and our second place finisher. But now we're going to be sending it back over to Roger, who I believe is caught up with the driver of the 20 car.
I have the driver out of New York for the Empire Racing Team, the number 20, Justin McDuff. Justin, a great run for you. It's been a while since we've seen you, well, towards the front of the field here, at least on the podium. How does this car feel after 125 laps here tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty solid night. It kind of backed up the result from last week, I feel. So I'm happy to start stacking a couple good finishes. I'll be honest, though, I'm pretty disappointed. I think I ruined Bill's night. I just made a mistake and got into the back of him there and tried to give him room to correct it, but I think he got absolutely pummeled, and then he just kind of got passed around after that. But I thought I did a pretty good job of saving my stuff in the beginning, and then we got into lap traffic, and I kind of had a feeling something was going to happen, and sure enough, there was the wreck with the 11 and a couple of the lap cars there. So overall, it's a solid night, but I just wish I could have gotten away without having that one little incident there.
How hard is it, one, to drive here at, well, the pace that the race leaders were putting on and then run into the back end there towards the field in lap traffic?
Yeah, I mean, when you get to these tight little bull rings like this, stuff just happens so fast, especially if someone checks up, and it's hard sometimes to see what's going on when you have cars stacked up like that. I don't even know what happened. That you'll have to go back and take a look, but you just got to kind of be on your toes and anticipate and try to do the best you can to not leave the bottom open, because like Joe said, it's so hard to pass here that guys will just take any opportunity they can to get by you, and these guys are so good at the top level in this league, and they're so aggressive. Honestly, at the front of the field, you don't have much margin for error, so you got to take every inch you can get, and it can be challenging sometimes, especially if you haven't run up front in a while.
You were running up front here tonight and showing that this 20 car still has the pace to come up here and play with the big boys. And was this a track that you looked at, that you said in the beginning of the season that you could possibly, have a really good finish and contend for this win?
Honestly, it's so situational, especially with the invert. I really like the tracks like Lanier, Langley, Sobo next week. Those are the tracks I usually seem to do better at for some reason. But with the invert and just, the competition level here, track position is so important. So like I said before, like every opportunity you get to make a move on someone, you really have to take it, because you don't know if you're going to get another one. A lot of these tracks, like Langley especially, it's so hard to pass. So anytime you get a chance to get by someone, you have to take it, and not take it for granted, I guess.
Well, you didn't take it for granted here tonight, that is for sure, because this 20 machine picked up 4 spots. You're going to finish in 3rd, so, well, who's on the side of it? That's for sure. That helps you make this car look as good as it is and be as fast as it is.
Yeah, well, as always, got to give a shout out to the Cerebral Palsy Foundation and Austin Design, Scott Austin. I saw he had a really good run tonight, too, and he designed this car for me this year. Usually I do my own paints, but it's the first time I hired someone else, and I love this car. I think he did a great job. My teammates, the Empire Racing Team, I feel bad for Brian because he had a really good run going and it got hosed. I know AJ had a great run. Al, for all he does, I hate that he had to miss tonight. It's the first time I think he's ever missed one of the Pro Series races here, but hope you enjoyed the show. And of course, thanks to you guys. You guys always do a great job. It's a pleasure to get the opportunity to speak with you.
Well, there you hear it. The number 20 of Justin McDuff here tonight will come up 4 spots, and he will finish in 3rd. So those are your top 3 competitors. Where did everybody else finish? Well, take a quick look here. Take a quick gander. What do you see that sticks out to you, Kelly? A lot of good racers here tonight, having some, well, disappointing finishes, and a lot of good drivers, maybe, that weren't known, finishing inside the top 10.
Yeah, I think this is going to shake up our standings just a little bit, as we've had some drivers that finished further back, some drivers that weren't even here, like Steph Marinac came into this race second place in the standings, but didn't actually come to the racetrack here tonight, unfortunately. But with 2 drop weeks in hand, these guys will have an opportunity to kind of cast aside a bad race or a race they have to miss. However, Justin Fuller, that did drop him back quite far, and with Guillaume Fortin at least having a decent finish, I think that might move him back into the championship lead. So we'll have to see once all the numbers have been crunched and see where things kind of shake out after this bit of a shakeup.
Couple drivers, one driver in particular that did have the most spots gained here tonight and having his best career finish was car number 5 of Scott Austin. So he's plus 15 and he will finish in the 5th spot. Congratulations to him. Guillaume came back to finish in 6th. It was a very quiet night for the 13G. Vernon Woodard at one point was inside the top 2, and then he was as far back as running in 15th. He'll finish 7th. AJ Hamill with a very damaged number 18 will finish in 8th. Justin Rigsby, very silent night here tonight for the driver of the Ryan's Fatted Calf entry. He'll finish 9th, and Rodney Hontoon will come back to finish in 10th. Drivers that maybe are going to get a finish that they didn't want here tonight: Bill Martin back into the 11th, Casey Bietti in 12th, and look at Brett Hahn all the way back into the 15th spot. Mike Alexander was 16th. Then you got to look at Dalton Williamson. He ran half this race in 2nd. He'll be back in 20th place here tonight, and Justin Fuller way back into the 25th spot. So those drivers going to be looking to rebound 1 week from now by the time we head to the South Boston Speedway. Another one of those great races that we'd love to see on the schedule.
Yeah, South Boston going to be another pretty much elbows out kind of races. It's going to be just yet another bull ring with some tight quarters, but hopefully we'll be able to see these drivers maybe take a few different lines there, but I'm going to guess that the bottom side is going to be the place to be, but maybe it might turn out like Lanier, where we're going to have some great passing towards the end of the race.
Well, we'll have to wait 7 days' time to find that out. It'll be the last race before we take the holiday break. So race fans, for everybody, though, with Best Colorful Creations, everybody with the Upstate Racing League, and all of us here at the Turn 3 Racing Network, that was Kelly Dahl. My name's Roger Muth. We hope you enjoyed tonight's virtual show here from the Langley Speedway, where the rookie, Stephen Rochford, will go to victory lane and celebrate this one, we're sure, all week. So until we see you next time, race fans, everybody stay safe, and we'll see you in Turn 3.